we do is try to get gigs for poets and sometimes organizations for poets. We also run the writing workshops around the community. That means we work with NGOs and whoever we can work with that we can get. But the reality of the most major problem of booking poets is poets are not serious about their own craft. So for them on book, we have a gig going. Don't you get that? We get it. It's one of those things. We don't respect our own brands as poets, and before anything else, we need to be artists. We need to be brands, and then economy start poetry up. You'll never get to a point where if you don't support other sessions. If your name is not well known around, you'll not get enough attention around poetry. If you sit in your own circle, really five, all you do is like poetry, really five. That's when you never grow as an artist. That's a problem. A lot of these young kids that we work with are good. They're very talented, but it takes time and energy just to get your name out there. For those people on the panel, as it is just recognized in the middle of the street, it takes a lot of work. Because you have to go over there. You have to go where they're at. And how about as poets, one of the things I realized, my sister was saying, you need to learn to read your audience sometimes. You can speak about anything as a poet, you have the right to. That's how you read your audience, how you're going to receive it. So one of the challenges we face as people try to organize a session is that people don't take their craft seriously. And some people in this crowd, some of them poetry is a hobby. It's just something they did, go school or I'm not saying something wrong with it. I mean, for some people, that's a hobby. Yeah. But we have people who just write for the sake of it, and some of them want to grow. And those who the hobbies that want to know, we love them, we respect that. Yeah. But if you want to grow as a thing, we need to train our brands more.
Give a second of thoughts, some laugh. I think we can do more. Okay. I think in simplest format, we say that there are people amongst us who write poetry for the love of it. They want to keep a journal. One of our panelists raised that. So now, if you do that, don't confuse those who write poetry to perform or write poetry to publish. Because we, as producers of poetry, we are now confronted with the reality that those who write poems for their own personal benefit, they will then go and say to the funders, people like Mandla Maseko, they don't book us. So now we are confronted with a situation where we are just booking mediocre. We are booking poets who don't read themselves. Poets who have never written anything. They are one poem, a limelight artist. They have been heard rhyming somewhere. And please don't confuse poetry and hip hop. If you rhyme as a hip hop cat, you are not a poet. And you need them to understand poetry to an extent that there is a huge difference between poetry, praise singing, and storytelling. If you are a good storyteller, don't think you are a good poet. It's not an automatic. A rugby player, a soccer player, and a hockey player, they all play sport. And there is a ball. But they are not the same. So don't confuse us. I think that's the message that we are getting from the house. And I think the point you are making to say that we need sessions like this. And as Blackie Gill and other people, we know we're creating this platform. The only thing that kills us, because we are investing money, time, and energy and bringing brilliant people with ideas. Then we have an audience that just doesn't appreciate them. They don't care because they don't know them. But we are living in communities where you need to always bring celebrities. If there were celebrities, or you call them celebrities, people would love to be here. So we need to grow our own celebrities in the poetry sector. So I think those are just comments to wrap what my brother is saying. We're gonna just run very quick because of time. Lunch is ready. Naledi says poets are working in silos. You are individualistic. she says, most of the poets have adopted one image. How do we deal with that? How do we, I see one, I think I've seen them all. I think that's a big statement you make.
I actually want to address what the lady said, because I think it's common, it's a common thought and perhaps a common practice. But once you understand that poetry isn't breath of my womb, poetry is all encapsulating. There's a young woman called Nova. How many of you know Nova? Nova, yes. Nova comes on stage in like, I don't know how many inch heels, a bright pink bra and a leather dungaree with a turban. She's got piercings, tattoos, like incredibly hot, as sharp as a samurai sword. Like as in you listen to her poetry and she is amazing. And it's outside just, oh no, she dresses like that. I dress the way I dress because I feel it looks good on me. If I were to dress like Nova, I would be a laughingstock. But my poetry isn't limited to messages and, you know, wanting people to cut themselves open and bleed. You know, sometimes I write about butterflies and love and, you know, just enjoying life, you know, and not wanting broke artists for boyfriends. You know, these are things that people can, like as in, what I'm trying to say is that poetry is broad. And if you feel that poetry is limited, it's because you're not exploring other poets. And so find the poets who speak to you. You know, go to those places where there are, you know, there are poets who speak your language, who speak to your mindset. And unfortunately, as people, we tend to think we want. You know, manna from heaven. But you have to work hard. If you want anything, you have to work hard. If you want to perform, you must go to gigs and listen first and hustle before you can get on the stage. You can't expect to perform at Night of the Poets if you've never attended a Night of the Poets show. Come and see what goes on at Night of the Poets, you know. And but Michael, he's not joking when he says he goes to different performances. I mean spaces, because he came to No Captures. He sponsored last year's spring No Captures. I don't know how many of you have been to No Captures, but you know there was food and there were people. Like it was a big session, and he made it possible. He said, okay, here's something that's already happening, that's doing well. Let's see how we can help. So, like, God only helps those who help themselves. Like, as in, we need to understand that we need to get off our butts and make things happen. Be a good poet. Work hard. Be professional. And then you will get things. And if they come to you, you will go find them.
Big up to that. Big up. I think you guys are asking us questions. Now we are really telling you the truth. You know, now you get the panel to really now tell you exactly how we feel about it. Because to tell you the truth, it irritates us. You know, some of the people here, they talk to me everywhere they see me. Now they are sitting here, you're asking yourself, is this person really serious about what we're dealing with? So those are the situation. Thank you very much. Let me just take this question and then I will pass to you the issues that Claire was talking about.
I actually wanted that question.
You want to address it?
Yeah, I want to.
Can I take the first part of it?
You can talk it.
Fine. I think the first question the question is very important to us. To say, how do people like ourselves who invest in poetry, how do we make it better? How do we come and connect with you? And I think maybe let's broaden the question and say, it is important that poetry producers and poetry investors and poetry promoters must not only limit themselves in working with poets who are in the city, particularly in Pretoria, all right? We need to work with poets that are in the rural areas. We need to work with poets who are in the townships. We must work with those poets who live in the shanty